this.
All right. This is the U.S. debt countdown clock. What it's counting down to is complete collapse. Because when that debt gets big enough, we will no longer be able to service that debt. And we quite literally are going to have to wipe our asses with the greenback because that's all it'll be worth.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
And we've had the $1.7 trillion budget pushed through before the big turnover, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm just sick and tired of these huge bills that get passed in the middle of the night. People have no time to read them. They are full of absolute horse crap and pork and they're giving pork away to their buddies that, we're talking about the Democrats, but at the end, they're actually porking us because we're the ones they got to pay for all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've had the Twitter files dump. We're seeing how, the laws are being enforced for only one sector of the population and it totally ignored by another. I just can't believe the amount of individuals who get elected to the House or the Senate, and within a couple of years, they're multimillionaires.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. And we're going to go through their individual pay, and we'll figure out exactly what that is. But the only way I can possibly even justify that kind of turnaround is they have to be doing some type of insider trading. I mean, because they know what they're going to put up, what bills they're going to put up. They pretty much know what's going to pass and what's not going to pass. And
I mean, the Pelosi family seems to know everything ahead of time, don't they? So.
Yeah,
they sure do.
Yeah, I mean, we had Martha Stewart go to prison for that for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
But I guess she didn't have the right letter next to her name, and there you go.
Yep. Martha Stewart convicted on all 4 counts.
Yeah. Why don't you read down some of that article? What were those counts?
Let's see. See if I can find them right away here. The convictions jeopardized the media empire that Stewart carefully built over the years in becoming the nation's premier homemaker, an image she put forth by way of magazines, TV programs, and everything from cookie cutters and garlic presses to bed sheets and pillows. Let's see. She was found guilty of conspiracy, making false statements, and obstruction of justice. The charges carry up to 20 years in prison at the sentencing June 17th, but she will most certainly get less than under federal sentencing guidelines. And this was back in 2015.
Yep. And I believe she got 2.5 years, 3 years or something like that.
Slap on the wrist.
And
yeah, it was just another slap on the wrist.
Well, she did 15 months or some shit. I mean, I don't remember how long she was in there before they released her.
I can't remember off the top of my head either. I'd have to look into that one.
But the thing is, I mean, that's the big difference. I mean, she was wealthy, very popular, known by pretty much the entire country. They cut her no slack, and they slam fucked her. I mean, that's the only really thing I can say here. And we have people pulling strings now, doing virtually the same thing and getting away scot-free.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
What is all that crap?
There was supposed to be a certain thing to stop all of this, and it's called the Stock Act.
Oh, so we actually have a law on the books that's being ignored by part of our government?
Shocking.
So this is from wikipedia.com, so we can take that with a grain of salt. I just wanted to bring this up because Rhino wasn't too up to speed on it, but basically the law is yet another addition to the series of policy created to mandate and regulate the transactions of securities. The Securities and Exchange Act of 1933 was the first policy created to protect the sale and primary security transactions by companies, also known as the Truth in Securities Law. It paved its way to provide investors with more protection and fair opportunity for their liquid assets. Congress saw the lack of information provided to investors was large disadvantage to investors and derailed their interest, causing a lack of liquidity in the market during the recovery. It also laid out examples and identified situations of fraudulent activity that had been previously committed by companies. In addition, it provided guidelines for companies with registered publicly held securities to publicly disclose annual and quarterly results to properly educate their individual investors.
Hold it up right there. All right. So what I'm hearing is the government reacting to the big stock market crash. I believe that was in 1929. And we quite literally, as a country, got flambasted over that.
Yes, we did.
And when the economy started to turn around, everyone had lost faith in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they passed this and came up with these additional criteria for companies is try to put that confidence back in the hands of the people so they would participate in the free and open market that it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Would you say that that's fairly accurate?
I would say you're 100% on that one.
Okay. And I mean, in today's world, we compare it back then to 1934 when they passed this act. We've already had a couple of recessions. We had, we came at least one nipple away from a depression in 2008. We were able to pull out of it. We funded that with debt, which we probably can't afford now. And in today's day and age, we've shut down our government for our economy for 2 years, and maybe 2 years and some change. And what are they going to do when we are actually in a depression once it finally catches up to us? Well, I mean, what laws are going to pass then? Especially when we know individuals in the know, either in the big corps and in our government, don't follow these rules.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, it's rules for thee and none for me.
Yep. I was actually just about ready to point this out. This is the summary of it. So this basically breaks it down a little bit better. The Stock Act is an original bill to prohibit members of Congress and employees of Congress from using private information derived from their official positions for personal benefit and for other purposes.
Boom, shakalaka.
Yeah. It's not like they do that all the time, right?
Well, this is what we're doing here. We're not actually telling you that's what they're doing. We are talking around it, just wondering and asking questions how people get elected. They get paid $200,000 to $400,000 a year, and 3 years later they're worth $5, $6, $7, $8 million.
Yep. Right here in section 6 actually breaks that down a little bit better. Amends the Ethics in Government Act of 1978 to require specified individuals to file report within 30 to 45 days after receiving notice of a purchase, sale, or exchange which exceeds $1,000 in stocks, bonds, commodities, futures, and other forms of securities, subject to waiver any exclusions. Now, if I'm not mistaken or anything, there were quite a few people that purchased a certain company's stock or invested in it. I would say roughly about 3-4 years ago. And somehow
a certain virus spilled out into the wild
until that certain event. And now that certain company is recorded like $120 billion in profits or something like that.
Yep.
Just a little bit of money.
Yeah. They made a lot of money selling the juice that send you to the hereafter.
Yep. And again, this is just on the Wikipedia, so it's easy for everyone to go in and look at it. Just go in there and type in Stock Act. So if you want to learn a little bit more, there you go.
I'm at a loss here. It's supposed to be investigated. They're supposed to stop this from happening. Our alphabet agencies no longer work for the people. They don't honor their oaths, in my opinion. And they're ignoring a lot of this craziness that's going on at the highest levels in our government.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just my take on it. Strictly my opinion. Under the First Amendment, I could say shit like this. Not only did I earn this because I'm a citizen here, but I paid for it with blood, sweat, and tears through 3 wars.
Right.
So I can speak my mind. I fucking earned it. Wham. Is there anything else on the back end of that?
Let's see here. I got a lot of all the sections. I was trying to see here because I know that there's a fine. Let me see if I can find it here. Just glancing over this. Bear with me here. I know there's supposed to be a fine. Here we go. Is this what I'm looking for? Well, Section 18 amends the Federal Criminal Code to subject to a fine or imprisonment up to 15 years or both. It doesn't specify the fine, as well as possible disqualification from holding federal office, certain covered government persons, in addition to members of Congress and congressional employees who, with the intent to influence on the basis of partisan political affiliation, blah, 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 blah.
I would say Section 18 got completely ignored the last few decades.
Oh. Yeah.
Yes, it has. And it doesn't say what the fine was, but I know it's, again,
well, typically
just another slap on the wrist.
No. When you're dealing with the federal government, they usually hit you with both fine and time.
Unless you work for the federal government.
Yeah, unless you work for the federal government, and then you get a pass.
Yep.
But not everyone in the federal government gets a pass, because I know a couple guys who aren't involved in any high level crap at all who've got themselves in trouble by accident.
Yep.
I myself got caught up in it's basically the GRAP investigation, where I think I put like 6 people into the National Guard system, and for every soldier I put in, I was compensated $2,000. And back then, when I was paying child support, I needed that money for a good Christmas or what have you.
Right.
All right. Now, years later, which technically is beyond the statute of limitations, they come after me for fraud, wire fraud, and like one other charge. Then they were like teeing me up to hammer me.
Yeah.
Because I was on active duty at the time, I had to go turn myself into CID. And quite frankly, I just walked in there and I said, I ain't saying shit. And they're like, okay. Took some fingerprints, took my picture. Out the door I was. It got forwarded to a prosecutor who said, you're out of your goddamn mind. We can't prosecute this because it was investigated like crap. And I got a letter of reprimand anyway. So there was no due process at all. And I'd been in the military 28 years at that point. And that was pretty much one of the things that made up my mind that it's time to retire.
I don't blame you.
That would definitely do it.
Yeah. And they've screwed over probably 30,000 guys with that investigation. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean prison time, because some people did game the system, did commit fraud, and they paid the price. A lot of them went to jail for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
But most of those guys, it was so obvious. I mean, there's really nothing they could do. Now, we have individuals in our government that were elected. They happen to have the right letter behind their name, and they're getting away with murder under our noses. They're flaunting it in our face, basically saying there ain't nothing we can do about it.
Yep.
And they are, right now, they're correct. Our alphabet agencies are not enforcing the laws that we just read to you.
It feels like certain agencies, just to keep this YouTube friendly, are bought and paid for by certain political affiliations at this point, man.
Yeah, and what is one of my sayings? We have the best government money can buy. It's just us as citizens, we can't afford it.
Can't afford it. Nope.
But China can.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Caser box.